Hello and welcome to Happiness and Wellness. My name is Geeta Arora, and today we're going to talk about Divine Delight. It's a book I've written about your spiritual healing journey of mine through consciousness, Ayurveda, and yoga. Stay tuned for more. Today our guest is Tara Dhamma, and she's a student of mine, also a healing arts practitioner. And in helping her practice move forward, she's here to explore and discover Ayurveda and yoga and consciousness with me. So welcome to the show, Tara. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Geeta. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. I'm delighted that you were able to join me today.
Me too. So, tell us, what is this book that you've written all about?
Well, the book came out of my search for, looking at how I can communicate to people about Ayurveda and yoga, and because there's so many questions in my practice about what is Ayurveda and how do I apply it in my world. So that's how it came about. I decided to write the book about 4 years ago.
Nice. And what brought the inspiration to write the book?
Oh gosh, I have a practice, an Ayurvedic practice. So in that, people are always asking, about my own personal transformation and how I came to the Ayurvedic work. And I love sharing the work, but I thought if I can share it with more people through a book, because people want to tell others, and it's a great way to understand what Ayurveda and yoga is. So that's what inspired me to write. And of course, I have so many great teachers and mentors that I wanted to talk about and bring alive in this book.
Nice, very nice. And remind me, what is the meaning of Ayurveda? I've heard so many different meanings, and so I'd love to hear what it means.
Sure. Ayurveda is, it's the word Ayu means life. So it comes from the Sanskrit word Ayus. So it means life. And Veda is the ancient scriptures. So when Ayu and Veda are put together, Ayurveda, it becomes a science of life. It becomes a science of longevity, knowledge of knowing the science of how to take care of yourself from inside out.
Very beautiful.
And it's a 5,000-year-old system, so it's been around a long time.
Wow. Great. And so how is Ayurveda different from other healing modalities that are out there, such as Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine, or Reiki?
Well, many medical scholars, they say that Ayurveda is the mother of all medicine, and it's been around the longest. Other medical systems have derived from it. One of the things is that the oldest surgeon, his name was Sage Shushruth, and he was the first surgeon who actually did rhinoplasty, and some of those tools that were used then are still used in surgery today, which is fascinating.
Yeah. And so how did you first come to learn about Ayurveda, and why did you choose to become a student of Ayurveda as well as eventually a practitioner?
Oh, that's a great question. I came to Ayurveda because I was 27 years old, and I was in the corporate world, having a really successful, great life and career, traveling, and my own office in San Francisco. It was amazing. I had a great life. And I went to India to visit my spiritual teacher, my master, and when I came back, I was very sick. I had fevers, 104, 105 every night, and it continued for 3 months. And over the course of the 3 months, I went and I saw many different specialists. I saw, the specialists in chronic rheumatoid arthritis and lupus and all kinds of different autoimmune diseases. And every person I went to, every doctor I went to, they all said, yes, you have what we learned to study, pretty much, So, and then I was curious. I'm like, how can I have so many diseases? I've never been sick in my life. I was a dancer. I was classical Indian dancer. and I was professionally dancing, and I had a full corporate life. I was having a great career. How could I get sick, you know? So it just continued like that. And then ultimately, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And then I was told I had 2 to 6 months left to live.
Wow.
And in that time, my body was completely deteriorating. And so I decided that, you know, I just gave myself to God basically because, you know, it was just no answer for what I was searching for. But I knew there had to be someone who knew how to heal my body. There had to be some way out. I mean, just in wherever it started from, how do you reverse that? So by universal coincidence, I was introduced through my cousin to an Ayurvedic doctor in Seattle, Washington, Bellevue, Washington, and his name is Dr. Viren Sodhi, and he's also written the foreword to this book. So you know, it's his direct experience with me and my direct experience with him that I've shared in here too, of what happened. But I was healed in 3 weeks, and also in addition to that, I was I had a divine healing experience with my spiritual teacher, and that's also written in the book. It's a journey, and you know, some of those things we can't really understand, and we don't know how to explain it. But when I'm looking at the mind and the body, and I'm looking at how the state I was in, and you look at the yogic principles of it explaining to us about how we search for the truth and who we become in the search of our own spiritual journey, there's so many answers in a practice of yoga. And so I basically came to it through my own healing experience or my own illness. And I was 27, and once I went through the 3-week protocols with Dr. Sodhi's office, I was completely healed. And when I came back to the corporate office, I was blown away because I couldn't believe that how we create diseases. Because I had like 3 laptops, and then we used to carry those big monstrous pagers back in the days, you know. I had like 2 of those, so and cell phone. You can't escape, right? I mean, they get you wherever, even if you're on vacation, wherever you are, they're like after you. So anyway, that was my inspiration. Basically, that's how I came to learning about Ayurveda. And Dr. Sodhi's office, they put me through different treatments like body treatments and moving the toxins out of the system. I had a big lump growing in my throat, so that was the cancer. And it was they were able to move that stuff through my body with the different oils and massages, and it was extremely painful, but very luxurious at the same time. You know, experiencing like hot oils on the body, and instead of getting like those needles being pushed at you, you know, to check your blood and all that stuff. And yeah, so that's how I came to it. And I have quite a story, I know, but that's been my purpose in life. I found what I came here to do, and that's what I do.
That is just incredible. Wow. That's an amazing story. And so tell me, how does Ayurveda interweave with the practice of yoga?
So Ayurveda and yoga, how they come together is the principles that it stems from. It's called the Samkhya philosophy, and the Samkhya philosophy is an old system of thinking. It's a way of thought, and the process between. Well, let me explain what Ayurveda and how they relate to each other. So Ayurveda is the actual understanding of the physical body, the subtle energies, and keeping this vessel, this body that we live in, the soul lives in intact. And you can, if you're healthy, then you can reach higher states. If you're not healthy, you can't really do much. You know, we all know that with the kind of stress we have. And for yoga, yoga is a way of finding your higher self. So in the practice, you're able to attain yourself with higher consciousness. One of the things that people think today in the Western world, the yoga is only asanas. And you practice yoga too, I know, so you understand this. So the asanas is not the only way to practice yoga. Out of the 195 sutras written by Patanjali, Sage Patanjali is the one who actually took all the information and put it together in data form that people could understand, that we look at today as well. And out of the 195 sutras, there's only 3 that talk about asanas, which means postures, which means poses. And in the Western world, we've got now aerobics yoga and power yoga and this yoga and that yoga and all the different yogas, but we have to ask the question, what do the 192 other sutras mean? So the other 192, what they talk about is ways to cease the thought waves in the mind. So there's this verse, the second verse in the Patanjali Sutras says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which means when the thought waves stop, that's when yoga begins, because now your mind and your body, now they're aligned. And now that you can experience your higher self from that place. That's how they come together.
So that's what many people refer to when they talk about bringing their yoga practice on and off the mat.
Yes,
because it's really a life, way of life.
Yes, exactly.
Practice.
Yeah, and I know you have a practice also. And how does that work for you?
I do. I really like the idea of tuning into those subtle energies that are in the body. That's something that I have come to learn in the past 10 years, actually, doing yoga as well as being a massage therapist. And right now I'm very intrigued by the study of the chakras, which is that attunement with the subtle energies that are in the body. Is there anything more you can tell me about that?
Absolutely. So first of all, the word chakra is pronounced chakra because it's the Sanskrit words. They are they have different meanings. The vibrations of it, they shift. So just like you say chuck, you know, you can say chakras. And so, but that's everybody, you know, it's, in the Western world, everybody says the terms in different ways, but the more we can say it closer to the Sanskrit words, the more the vibration is powerful in different ways of looking at all the different chakras. The chakra system are the subtle energies of the body. And so when we look at Ayurveda, there's different aspects of looking at it. So there's the physical body, there's the emotional body, there's the mental body, and there's a physical body. So now you've got all these different facets of yourself, right? It's fascinating. The human body is amazing because you can look at yourself from all different angles. So in the Western perspective, you know, you've got a psychologist for the head, the mind, and you've got the doctor look at a bone, the bone tissues. You've got a doctor for the stomach, for the whatever it is. But Ayurveda is a holistic system. So it becomes a whole, looking at a human being as a whole. And with that in mind, you know, the chakra system are the subtle energies, and what you're talking about, that experience of the subtle energies in the body. When you're practicing yoga, it takes you into a deeper state, and now you can experience yourself with your heart opening more, or you're feeling like you're not as connected with your stomach. Maybe you've got IBS going on, or stress is like making you sick to your stomach, so to speak, literally. So it's all those different ways of looking at the chakra system. It's really interesting when people are emotionally not happy and you're at work and your physical body is having an impact as well. So, you know, the breakdown is happening at so many different levels. That's why understanding it from all these different areas is so fascinating.
I see. So it's really all about bringing equilibrium to the mind, body, and spirit.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah. You go to the next page. So I'll tell you about Ayurveda in some of the stress management, how it's addressed. We have, in our society, we've trained ourselves, our brains, our minds, to be on overload. Because after the time is 6 o'clock, you know, that's the time when the sun goes down. After that, what happens is we just turn on all the lights and we just continue going till like 12 at night. You know, so one of the things about Ayurveda is we're breaking the system of nature. So nature is something we really have to align ourselves with. And that's the practice of Ayurveda. That's how Ayurveda can help somebody. So if somebody is working late at night, every night, and then trying to get up at like 6 or 7 o'clock to again start a day, well, your body hasn't had rest. So according to Ayurveda, there's the times of day and night. So Ayurveda is based on the 5 elements of earth, water, fire, air, and space. So these 5 elements are put together and put into these three combinations we call Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So Vata elements are so let me back up just a little bit. When I'm looking at someone, the way we look at what's off balance for a person. So when a person comes in and they're looking for an Ayurvedic consultation, the first thing we look at is what is their Prakriti. Prakriti in Sanskrit means nature. So nature is what's outside, like the trees, the rain, the forest, the sky. All that is part of nature. We are an extension of nature. We're a little piece of nature. And when we are in our element and we understand what is our body composition made up of, what is our mind composition made up of. So Vata elements, the air and space. So you know the difference between the air and space. The air is what you're breathing, and the space is just like we have open space here. The same space exists in outer space. The same space is in the open cavities of your mouth. That space allows you to move. If you don't have space, you can't move. Right. So that's a distinction between air and space. And now with that, so if somebody has predominantly air and space elements present in their body, they tend to be much thinner boned. They're lighter on their feet because there's movement. There's a lot of movement. And in a balanced place, they're very creative. They're multitaskers. They can do so many things at one time. They don't like regularity. So they like to dabble in here and dabble in there, do this and that. And then in an imbalanced place, they become very fearful. There's a lot of anxiousness. They can experience insomnia, a lot of restlessness, movement, things that don't settle the mind. And then there's the Pitta dosha. These are called doshas. Vata, Pitta, and Kapha are called doshas. So the Pitta dosha is something that has a lot more fire in it. So it's fire and water together. So the fire element is something that gives you the drive, just like we have the fire, the drive to go do something, the motivation, the desire to create things. So it's like very fast. So Pitta people in a balanced place, they set goals. They're very logical, very structured. They're the people, you go to their house and their house is going to be immaculate. It's going to be perfect. And nothing is out of order. Everything is in its place. We have a joke, you've got the Vata person, and if you have a wall, and the wall, it will have, for the Vata person, the pictures are like all over the place. It's got, it's very artistic and or it could be just a big mess, but they see it as art. And the Pitta person, they may have just like one picture right smack in the center of the wall. It's like perfect. And then in the imbalanced place for Kapha, for Pitta people, they get a lot of heat-related problems in the body. So it could be ulcers, it could be acne, it could be rashes, it could be irritable bowel syndrome, heart issues, gallbladder, appendix. All those are Pitta-related, heat-related in the body. And the heat also, it takes care of the temperature of our system, how we look at things, how we see things, because it's also, there's a process of looking at something, and that processing requires the energy, the Pitta, the metabolism to move. And then you've got the Kapha dosha. So the Kapha dosha is more earthy, it's more heavy. And so for these people, they tend to be a lot more grounded in a balanced place. They make good CEOs of companies. They're visionaries because they're slow but steady. So the first two doshas, if they're asked a question, the Vata may just like say something, but it may not make sense, but they've said something and they have their own thought process, still continuing. For the Pitta person, they like to look good. So their answers are probably spot on, really good. You can see students in a classroom, right? They're spot on, and they raise their hand. They look good. They want to make sure they said the right thing. And then for the Kapha person, they may not even get it. They'll be like, "Huh? What did you say? I didn't get it." Or they just might stay quiet, and because it takes a little time to process that, what was just said. But once they get it, those Kaphas are going to blow you away tomorrow.
They never forget.
They don't forget. They have great memories, and they're going to process it. When they get home, they're going to think about it, and they make great nurturers. They're great caregivers. They're your best friend, a great shoulder to cry on. Get a Kapha friend. If you got issues, get a Kapha friend, and they'll always be there for you. In an imbalanced place, the Kaphas are heavy, sluggish, so they already come in the world with larger muscle mass, larger bones, and in an imbalanced place, they would get sluggish. Weight gain is very easy for a Kapha person because I have a joke because I'm Kapha as well. I have I have a Pitta Kapha type of combination. And I can look at a piece of cake and gain weight, literally. You know, I don't have to eat it. It's just like, oh boy, you know. So Kapha's in an imbalanced place. They become very sluggish. There's a lot of imbalance, and they need some kind of a stimulating partner, you know, to take them for walks and hikes. Like for a lot of people in this country, you know, they want to lose weight, but do they actually get out and exercise? Do they actually get out and do things? Regularity, you know. So with the kind of society we live in today as well, we call it a Vata society because everything is movement, right? We have to get in trains and planes and cars to get from one place to another. We're always moving, and also the Vata is also the air and space technology. Look at our technology today. It's like this frequency of information going through the air right now. You know, you can't touch it, but it's going through the air, it's going through somewhere, and it has an impact on the human body because it zaps the energy. So that's why Prakriti, called nature, it's really important. So to find balance, you go out in nature. You know, you take a walk in nature, go talk to the trees, go water your garden, go, you know, put your hands in the ground, take your shoes off and walk on the grass. Like all those things are balancing factors in today's time. And the most important one is to make sure that your timing is right. Like you go to bed on time and you wake up in time. And in Ayurveda, we have something called dinacharya. Dinacharya are routines. And routines are principle of your life. Because if you don't have routines in your life, it's not going to work. Even in, no matter it's in business or your personal life. So for me, what I like to teach people is that if, you know, what I stand for is I help people bring their vision to reality. And in bringing your vision to reality, if your health is not doing well, if your health is something is messed up or off balance, how do you do that? You know, your health is your wealth. Your health is everything. A lot of people, they chase for money. They want success through money, material things, a house, a car, put their kids through college and all that stuff. Those things you got to do, you know. There's some things you just have to do. But on the other hand, you know, there's a lot of things that that are up to us to decide how we take care of our own health. And it is really important that we get to take care of our own health.
Great. So it helps you, in other words, a way of looking at it is really that others can see how that health starts from the inside out, rather than society looking out. It's all about teaching one how to look inward and start there. And you really bring all that into manifestation by really helping others see themselves. That's really where you start.
Yes, yes. It's a beautiful journey. You know, Ayurveda is for everyone. It doesn't matter if it's for an infant that's just been born or it's a person in their 90s or 100s. Ayurveda can absolutely help because different stages of life is also Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. When a child is born, when up till the age of like 12, before they hit puberty, that time is called Kapha time. You can see their roly-poly cheeks, you know, nice and chubby babies. When they're too skinny, we worry about them, right? You want to feed them, you want to do something for them. And so that's the Kapha time of life. But as soon as you hit that adolescent time of period of life, and then you're transitioning into adulthood, you have to get out there and figure out how you're going to make money. Are you going to build your house? Are you going to feed your family? You're going to get married or not? Are you going to have children? What are you going to do? It all requires this drive. And so you have to have that kind of drive at that time. So these imbalances occur during that times of life as well. And then the last stage of life is, well, the third stage, I should say, of life is when you're transitioning through menopause or around 50s, 60s, when there's more dryness in the body, there's cracking and popping of the joints, which are all air and space elements, are now much more highlighted in the way we live. But that's the time of life when we're supposed to move within, go more into spirituality, connect with who you are from the deeper place, from your higher self, so that you can access life in a way that is meaningful, but not to go chase things outwards. The outward experience of life is more in the Pitta stage of life. And when you're transitioning to the Vata time of life, doesn't mean you have to go and sit on the mountains and, you know, get away from everyone. What it means is that become more aware. it's giving back to society. It's being a contribution. And fear and all those things are just a natural way of the vata imbalance. So a lot of people, as they're moving into retirement and things like that, they start to have fear around money or security or not having a partner. All those are real issues. So for those people, they have to, there's a principle of like attracts like in Ayurveda. So if you have too much vata, you have to balance it with heavier stuff. So you're flying away, the air and space elements. So you've got to bring in more grounding things like soups. Hot soups will ground you. Walk in the nature. Having things slow down a little bit. Have more regular routine. That's going to really help you to slow down and bring more balance to your life. And if the pitta is too much, the fire is too much in the body and the mind, then what needs to happen is there has to be some cooling things. So drinking like aloe vera juice, coconut water, pomegranate juice, all these things, it helps to bring that pitta, the fire, down. So it helps to bring more of a balance and staying out of the hot sun. Those people who are really, they're runners or their pitta is very high. They get out in the middle of the sun without a shirt on and they're running and they're red like a lobster. They're just making their pitta go even higher. So it's actually causing that imbalance to occur more. So it really is something where, one has to be aware of their dosha. First, find out who you are, what's your nature, and then based on that, you can make changes, simple changes through diet, lifestyle, just relaxing meditations, guided meditations, getting body work done. Go to a person like you, which is the healing arts area, in therapies, whatever works for you. There's no one right thing now. It's whatever works for you, wherever you are. That's the way to address the imbalances in our society.
Wow, nice. So there's many different paths within Ayurveda and things that you can do to really balance the different doshas.
Yes.
You say.
Yes. Yes. So with that, I have my main message to people would be that everybody needs to be responsible for their own health and their health and well-being. And in order to put yourself out there, you have to take charge of your own health and well-being. And you have to be able to take care of your families. And there's so many different facets of life where many different things are happening, but getting yourself grounded and in your element, in your essence, is the way to live life. And there's ways of deepening your own spiritual practice. And some people may say, well, I'm not a spiritual being or whatever, but we are all spiritual beings because we all came from somewhere, we're going somewhere. So it's best to understand your own spiritual journey and know that the path that you're traveling is one that will fulfill you. And with that, I wish you the best, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. Take care. Goodbye.